What's going on, everybody? It's Wednesday night. We're setting this party off big time. Me, the Clappinator, Marcus Brunel.
Hey.
Here we go. Little just another day for you on a Wednesday night. Boom! Holy cow, that song takes me back. We probably wrote that song in 2000. Let's pretend 2011, something like that. I was in my first band ever, and we didn't really know what we were doing. But unlike my guest, who knows exactly what he's doing, unbelievable. Co-host of From Way Downtown podcasts, available on iTunes and Spotify and anywhere where you can find dope shows. Congratulations, my friend. Your show is phenomenal. Really. You and Andrew and his brother. What's his brother's name? Jonathan? You guys are savages.
Jonathan.
Good.
Yeah, thanks, man.
It's
I appreciate it.
It's tremendous.
We are trying our best to make it look like we know what we're doing, at least.
Hey, you guys do. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's a professional show. You guys start out with topics and just roll on it, and everybody loves it. As far as I know, I mean, it's crazy to think that the voice of reason now is this. Like the podcast world is just skyrocketed. It's huge.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, there's not a single person, really, I don't think, that doesn't listen to shows like this.
Yeah,
especially
I would totally
now.
agree with that. Even for myself, just in the past couple of years, like the way I listen to things is not the radio anymore. I'm probably split half and half between music and podcasts now. Like I'm full in on podcasts. I love listening to them. I just can't get enough of it, really.
I can't either. I mean, that's all I ever do. With my second job, I'm in the car all the time, so it's just like I do the exact same thing. So school me on this. How did you come up with the idea of something like this that you wanted to do? Of course, it's your field, but like, what made you want to do the show?
So it's something that we've been talking about for a long time. And it kind of seemed like a bit of a pipe dream at first, it'd be fun to just talk basketball. Like we love talking basketball to each other just normally. So why not record it? See if other people might want to hear it too. And then one day my buddy Andrew, the other host of the show, just came to me and was just like, you know what? I think we should do it. He's like, let's just go for it. Yeah. Now's the best time, better time than any other time. So let's try it out. And so as soon as he said that, it was just like a flip switch, a switch flipped for me. Like I was just, let's do it. I was headlong into it. And
it was a
then
lock.
From there, it was just coming up with how we wanted to format the show, what it was going to be like, the style it was going to be in, and then just making it happen,
He's such a good co-host. He's a good guy too.
Yeah.
Gosh. What's so funny is we've all known each other for such a long time now. It's crazy to think that we're all doing our own thing. You know what I mean? It's like It seemed like yesterday you and I were just meeting up to hang out or talk skateboarding or have a fire or do whatever.
Yep, go snowboarding, something like that.
Exactly, and now we're all doing different things. But but you're enjoying it. I could tell it's kind of a passion for you. You love basketball. I mean, I love
absolutely.
basketball too. But you guys know way more about it than me. So talk to me about. Did you read this thing today? LeBron just bought like half of the Red Sox or something like that. Is anyone computing with this right now? Does that make any sense to anyone? Why would somebody do this? I mean, really, I get why, but why?
Yeah, I haven't looked into, how much shares he has in that Fenway Sports Group and whatnot, but it does just seem bizarre.
It's
like
very weird.
Why LeBron James? It's great on his end. He can be the first, black partner for the Fenway Sports Group. That's, I'm sure that's some sort of publicity for FSG. Yeah, he is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I can see in some aspects, why it would make sense, but in others, it's like, first off,
it's not even your team.
It's a rival to
exactly.
teams that he's a fan of. Like he was always a Yankees fan, from what I understand.
Right.
And now he's owner of part of the Red Sox. It's weird.
Okay.
It's definitely weird.
A lot of people and I have to agree with this. He really, really, I don't know if he duped people or really showed people what he wanted to do. He went to LA and just started drinking the Kool-Aid, man. It's like he's doing movies now, he's owning teams, he's doing all these commercials. It's just like, bro, you're not playing basketball anymore at this point. The only thing that you're doing is really diving into the Hollywood lifestyle, which I understand it's very attractive, but at the same time, it's like, just do what you do in basketball,
Right.
okay?
Right.
Just do what you do.
Save that stuff for after. I hear that. And that, honestly, that's probably a big reason why he made the move from Cleveland to LA to, Hollywood, and to go that route, just so he can have all this time to go for his other endeavors outside of basketball. But it's like,
Right.
it kind of seems cocky to me, where it's like he's saying, I'm so good at basketball, I can do all this other stuff first and still beat you guys. And it's like, I hate that stuff.
And not only that, but it's just like, if you were to do something like that, help your local team. Help your local franchise. All these other teams that are sitting in the dirt with their thumbs like this. It's like, do something. Do something other than just sit there. But, whatever. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. You gotta preface that 12,000 times nowadays.
Right.
So, when I listen to your show, it's funny because I have a hard time keeping up with basketball because I'm so busy doing other things. But
Sure, yeah.
I think about all these past giants that have influenced the Steph Currys, the LeBrons, the Kyries. It's like, and I feel like it's such a drive-in experience at this point. People forget that Shaq was on the Celtics. People forget that, Michael Jordan was on
the Wizards.
The Wizards, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Sure. It's like, I feel like the culture now is so quick and, gone. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of fans, especially newer fans, see what the guys in the NBA are doing right now, and they think this is the apex of, sports. This is the apex of the NBA. We have never seen so much talent in the league before. So they kind of cast off all the guys who did it that influenced all these guys in the NBA right now. So I can definitely get what you're saying. Like, it's just like, you can't forget the foundation of the sport and everybody who built that, and just look at, the completed product, you could say, right now that the NBA is.
The only person that is actually doing these guys justice is Cube. He's actually put together that big three is a huge thing, huge success. It's like,
I know.
It's like, who would have ever thought that you would see Julius Erving back on like a basketball court? It's just like, even if he doesn't play, just to have him be there and be a part of the whole experience, it's a big deal, man. It's a big deal. I mean, I guess the only person that wouldn't fit in that category is Steve Nash, since he's 105 and still tries to play basketball.
Yeah.
But anyway, is he retired? He's got to be retired by now.
He's retired. Yeah, he's the coach of the Brooklyn Nets now.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's it. Wow.
So talk to me about Kyrie. Is he back playing?
He is. Yeah. So he has been playing for most of the year this year. He took a couple weeks off. I don't know if you saw in January, where he just said, for personal reasons, I'm stepping away from basketball. Yeah. And it was like, what you're not going to elaborate at all on what that could be. Like, imagine if you or I tried to say that at our jobs, like, hey, I'm just not going to show up for personal reasons. I got stuff going on. Right. I'll see you in 3 weeks. Yeah. Like that wouldn't fly.
And your contract is still the same.
Right. You're still getting paid. Exactly. Right. But yeah, so since he's come back, quite honestly, he's been playing phenomenal. Yeah. Like, he's been playing great, which has never been my complaint with him. Like, I love watching him on the basketball court. It's all this other stuff off the court that annoys me.
I know, bro. It has monopolized like a media frenzy, with all this cancel culture and stuff like that. Now it's like that's more looked at than basketball, than the talent, than the scores. Just everything has been overshadowed by what you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because all these guys want to do, for the most part, is just play ball.
Right.
I look at people like John Wall, who's a savage, and came right out the gate a couple of years ago and just blew everybody away.
Yeah.
And now it's like in the toilet. Nobody cares about that anymore. It's it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It is. Yeah. People are quick to forget, if something doesn't go your way, it's like you got to work hard to get back to where you were,
Right. Yeah. And you know what? It's like, it's a shame too, because when you love watching the sport, it's easy for that negativity to get in your mind and get in the way. I look at Space Jam 2 that's coming out right now. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to go watch it. I don't know. There's only one GOAT to me, bro. And I think he's probably the same for you. That's Michael Jordan. Okay?
Sure.
I don't care. I don't care about LeBron James. I don't care they didn't put Rogaine on and he's out there dancing around like a penguin. It's not my problem. I don't care.
Right.
But it's as I said, it's like it's negativity and it's nonsense that just gets in the way of me wanting to watch the sport.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think one thing that I try to reflect on, especially we had a show, it was just like a couple days before or after the anniversary of Kobe's death this past year.
Yeah.
And
that was a good
when
show.
we were doing that, we were talking about, what memories we have of him playing in the NBA. And so for me, it was kind of tough because it's like he was a Laker. I'm a Celtics fan. So it's like I didn't really appreciate his career because I spent so much time hating him, for being a rival. And so like like I said in the podcast, I try to do that with LeBron as much as I can. Like, he's a big rival for the Celtics, always has been. Yeah. But I don't want to lose, his career and the good and the great that he has done just because I don't like him, or what he's done to my team. So I try to balance it because I get what you're saying. Like you can get.
I mean, the people get confused. Do you think that me and Marcus are sitting here saying that we don't? Do you think we don't know that LeBron James is one of, if not one of the best basketball players on the planet? Yeah. We know that, but we're not going to sit here and tell you we love him.
Right.
Come on. But yeah, that was a good show. Yeah, I'm excited to see what the Celtics are going to do. I mean, if they're going to do anything like the Patriots, they're buying, like, have you seen what's going on with the Pats right now?
Yeah.
Literally that's spending money like it's springtime in Los Angeles at the club.
Right. I know. I had a feeling it was going to be a pretty wild offseason for them just because, Bill's just wants to compete so bad. And so he would have just went out and bought everybody. But I honestly did not expect it to be this crazy. I didn't expect him to go all in like he really is.
I didn't expect Cam Newton to come back.
Yeah, that one too.
I was like, wow. Here's what I'll say about that. I know I kind of got off track with the NBA and NFL thing.
Yeah, no worries.
I apologize. But what I think about that is I was upset with his performance, but I'm not shocked because he's not Tom Brady.
Right.
And he's also not an MVP anymore. He's older now, and he's sort of trying to restructure himself to a brand new team. And I think
Absolutely.
And I think like anything, it takes a while for you to adjust to all these rock stars that have been on the Patriots for such a long time and to get with their chemistry. Tom Brady knew their chemistry from the jump. If anybody knows, when he replaced Bledsoe back in 99, 2000?
Yeah, 2000, 2001.
He jumped right into this thing like it was nothing. Like he was a pro.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Phelps inside the pool swimming. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he's built this legacy up so big that now that Cam Newton's involved, it's like he's going to have to really, really get himself on the ball. But it's not going to be right away.
No.
So I'm hoping that everything goes well for him. I'm hoping that he learns a few things from his receivers, and of course Belichick and stuff like that. But I think Belichick should probably get himself ready to retire.
I know. He's got to be up there now by this
Oh
point,
my
right?
word, he was old when we were young.
Right. It's crazy.
But anyway, yeah, back to the basketball thing. So we kind of touched on it through text messages, but we talked about college ball. Now
Yeah.
Drop some knowledge on me about this because I get confused.
Sure.
When you watch college basketball, do you think that it's more fast paced? Because it's like, I feel like college ball in football and basketball is so much different than regular ball.
Absolutely.
Because you got all these guys that are just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It almost feels like I'm watching soccer because it's so fast. But
Right.
it was crazy. I watched that Duke game in the North Carolina State or whatever it was. Because they got 3 teams. Yes.
Yeah.
They absolutely clobbered him, bro. It was just like, no contest. You're done. It was over before it even started. I was like, this is crazy, though, because Duke is a good team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, college basketball and the NBA, like you said, totally different ball game. And it's confusing because it does seem faster in some ways, but they always talk about the transition from college to the NBA. The players got to get acclimated to the speed of the NBA play. So it's funny the way it works, because I do agree that, in college, I would say you have more fast breaks. You have some quicker speed up and down the court, but probably a lot of that is because the coaches use less set plays. They just kind of let the guys, play. They don't, say, hey, we're going to run this play so that we can get this guy to score. No, it's just whoever's the best on the team, you try and do your thing. That's kind of college ball and how it works out. And so because of that, there's less slow moving parts on the offensive end. So I feel like they get into their action quicker. They just make a decision shot, and then it goes the other way if they miss or whatever. So in some aspects it is quicker, but in some aspects it's slower too, and I would say less refined, which makes for a different game completely. So yeah, I haven't really followed a ton of college basketball this year just because we've been so invested in the NBA with this podcast.
Absolutely.
But it is very interesting that Duke is not going to be in the tournament this year. I mean, that's the first time I think in my lifetime that has happened.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly, it's been a bit since they haven't made the tournament. So that's weird. That's real weird for me.
Yeah. I remember when I was learning how to play. My dad was a forward for his team in high school, and he was actually pretty good. Even though he was short like me, we're both midgets. What are you gonna do? That's the breaks of the
forward
game
position.
Right,
that's impressive.
Well, dog. I mean, look, Spud Webb was dunking on 6 foot tall people. You can't win them all. So, but when I was learning how to play, one of the biggest things that he taught me was always get rid of the ball right away, and that's an element that people have actually lost, and I'm guilty of it too. Trust me. I used to play ball down in Florida with all these guys that are running around like they're Superman. I cannot explain it. But the key to the game is passing. Always pass. And it's so funny to like play now as an adult and get rid of the ball and be sort of halfway accurate. And it's not always about getting it in the hoop, it's about being accurate. It's like you learn those lessons through the game. And so it's just interesting to watch all these guys and these giants really play. And, like, I'll see somebody just dunk the ball, and it'll be a sack of potatoes. And just go ping right off the right off the rim. I'm just like, how? How does this happen? But what intrigues you about the game, I guess, is probably the next question that I got for you.
So for me, I'm definitely always very interested in the analytics and, the deeper things, the things you kind of have to watch with a very keen eye to catch. So I like seeing the way teams will make small adjustments, and, football does the same thing too. But I like seeing the small adjustments that the coaches make to find good matchups, to exploit, a specific skill set that a guy has. Um, and that's probably something that I've developed as I've aged, an appreciation for that. In the beginning, what really drew me to the sport was that 2008 run to the finals for the Celtics. That was the first year that I really got into basketball. My dad, he heard that the Celtics got the big three that they had at that time. And he's like, all right, we're going to watch every game this season. And so we did it. We watched all 82 games of the regular season, watched the whole playoff run. And from there, I was hooked just because, it was just such a buzz around the Celtics that year and just how incredible it was, the transition they made from being a trash team before to now making it to the finals and winning. Like, being the first year that I really followed it just hooked me for good.
Yeah, it was a big year. I mean, you had the Giants, you had Rondo, you had Garnett, you had Pierce, you had Ray Allen. People forget how good Ray Allen actually was. Like, the guy literally threes all night long. The guy was a savage. I mean,
arguably the best shooter to play the game.
Exactly. I mean, next him and like Larry Bird are probably a close. It's like, just to watch them play, people forget the art of really shooting the ball, and
for sure
they just did such a good job. Like, I mean, it's funny you mentioned that game because it's like it was back in the time where I was recording everything on VHS. And I actually have that game from the VHS. I recorded the championship. Yeah, it's on there. It's around here somewhere. I'll have to dig for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that game. And I remember watching it the next day because I wasn't allowed to, or not allowed. I think I fell asleep or something like that. This was
yeah.
So I just watched the rest of the game. I was like, wow, this is so crazy.
It is.
I was at my watering hole the other day. And there's a regular that comes in there, and he was talking to me about this guy that he knows who has saved tapes of like the Dolphins from the early 80s.
Oh, goodness.
And just has recorded like every game since. So he's just got stacks of tapes all over his house. It's like, can you imagine?
Oh, my word.
Hey, you want to watch a game from 1982? What?
Right. You even still have a VCR to play those tapes?
Yeah, really. It's like, which it's funny. I do. I got a VCR. I got all my tapes
do you?
Still saved. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy. But
that's nuts.
That's dedication right there. You got to really love your team. To be
absolutely.
Like, I'm gonna save all these tapes and then watch them later.
Right. Put a piece of tape on each one. Write down what year it's from and what game it is.
Write down what you were doing. Yeah. I just watched a Pepsi commercial with Dan Marino in it. It's crazy, bro. But
crazy.
Yeah, man, that big three was unstoppable at that point.
They were
super cool, and Paul Pierce was still a savage back then too.
Yeah,
it's just,
for sure.
It's funny to see him on as a commentator now because he was a Celtic for so long.
Yeah, he's a funny analyst. I'll say that. He says some crazy things.
Oh yeah,
that's just sometimes off the wall, but you gotta love what he says because he's Paul Pierce.
Yeah, exactly. He was just one of the greats. It's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine, Mark. Oh, you know George.
Yeah.
And we were talking about Kevin Garnett's book.
Okay, yep.
I don't know if you've heard about this yet. I'm going to have to send you.
I talked to George a little bit about the book, too.
Did you really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Because, I mean, we could talk off the air or whatever, but it was so funny to think that this guy, who was such a giant in those days, is now doing his own thing. He's got movies. He did Uncut Gems with Sandler, and now he's written his book and stuff like that. He's had a very interesting life.
Yeah.
Very, very
for sure.
Interesting. You could tell from his passion, even after they won the championships, that it was such a big deal for him.
Absolutely. Yeah. That team that they built that year that's a straight up family now. Like those guys go back to that year and they still get together from what I hear, and they still love each other. Yeah, like it's cool, the camaraderie they have.
Was Big Baby Davis on that team?
Yeah, he was.
What, like, was he on the championship team?
He was. Yep.
Okay, I thought I was remembering that correctly, but I was like, I can't quite get the wires together.
Yep.
But
Yeah, I don't think he played much that year, but the next few years after, he started to get some more playing time.
yeah, oh my word. Well, because he was on the bench for a long time.
Yeah,
He
right,
was a
right.
bench player. They would call him in for, whenever anyone get tired. But it was like he was very good himself. Actually, he got some big numbers himself.
Yeah, he was impressive, being the size
The
and
size that he was, and
the
just
fit that he
clobbering.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. You and I actually used to play ball together every once in a while. Back in the day, like,
Yeah.
where was it we used to play? I can't remember where it was.
I don't remember either.
There were games, like, we had teams from certain places. Like, I think some of it was the Webster
Was that in Oxford
area.
that we played?
I think it was in Oxford.
Okay. Yeah.
Because across the street was, like, a restaurant where we would eat after.
Mm.
I can't remember the name of the place. But Sam was on your team.
Yeah.
And the big scary guy. What the heck was his name?
Nate.
Nate, yeah.
Nate Preach, yeah.
It was quite the team.
Yeah, those were good times, I tell you what. That was fun playing
We had a lot of
playing
fun.
all the teams that came from all over the place, just to play. And that's actually the gym where I tore my ACL that year when we were playing.
Oh my word,
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was rough. But yeah,
Yeah.
before that, I loved playing ball. I felt like I was getting real good, and then I had that setback, but that was tough.
Dude, that's horrible. And that, like, those types of injuries, it's like you got to be careful because they could come back. You could, like, re-tear and stuff like that. It's bad.
Absolutely. Yeah, they say once you tear that ACL, you're actually more likely to then tear the next one very soon too. Like it raises the probability of you having that happen like by 50% or something like that, which is
That's
weird because it's a
crazy.
totally other leg. But
Right.
yeah, it's crazy.
It's probably because once you tear the first one, you're going to favor your other leg more and use it more,
True. Yeah.
if I had to guess. Yeah, so what was I going to say? So when you started playing ball over there, is when I started coming around a little bit. Like, because I hadn't played ball since... I used to play ball in Athol, which was it's in Mass. We used to play every single Monday, me and a big group of guys. But I would play with people that were much older, and so they were schooling me on how to shoot better, on how to do all this other stuff.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
that's how my game got more improved. Of course, I was never the best player, but I had some games, bro, where I was just on.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's fun.
and then you have days where you just bomb.
Way off. Yeah, I feel that.
And those are I started coming around playing in Oxford is when I started to bomb. It's just like, I remember why I don't do this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man.
I definitely feel that.
Did you ever think about getting like a tournament together when this whole thing's over?
Oh, I would love that. I
think we
really
should
would.
do it.
That's one thing I'm missing bad is playing basketball with, people from all over,
Yeah, exactly.
getting together with big groups and playing games. Like, oh, it's going to be rough when we go back. I'm probably going to be terrible, but I
Right.
can't wait to do it.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. It's funny to think that this is going to be, I hate to say it, but it's going to be the new normal when everything's over.
I know.
It's like it's
Yeah,
just going to
it's-
feel weird.
It is. Yeah. It's going to be eerie for a while, I think.
Are you still going to do the podcast? Like, what's the plan for the whole thing?
Yeah, so the plan is just to keep rolling with it. Weekly episodes come out every Tuesday. Once the season ends, it may end up being moved out to once every other week, maybe once a month. We'll see during the off season how we feel about how much content we have to put out.
Right.
But then each season that rolls by, we're just gonna go right back to the same schedule. One episode a week, and keep rolling with it for as long as we can.
Yeah, I got you. So let me ask you this then. When you put out content, what's the most... Go ahead. He's dying, ladies and gentlemen. It's okay.
No, I'm good.
When you put out content, is there like a message or a theme that you always try to keep when you put these episodes out? Do you always try to stay on one sort of level when these things come out?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think kind of the theme that when I host, I try to put out is that it's going to be a very professional style, where we're going to try to bring as much information as we can, at least through the first segment, because we kind of split it up into 3 segments each show. And then as we get closer to the end of the show, then we start to, have a little bit more fun with it, make some segments that are more engaging for the listener, perhaps, to be able to kind of answer the questions we're going to ask to themselves, and then just have some laughs with it by the end of the show. So that's kind of like we try to, or at least I do when I'm hosting the show, where I try to split it half and half, where we have like more of a polished professional start, and then we work out to the second half and be kind of more fun and jovial.
Do you switch hosts often? I think maybe it's just the timing on my part, but I probably have only listened to the episodes where you've been hosting.
Yeah. So we rotated around. So
Gotcha.
Each next episode, it goes to the next guy, and we just keep rotating between the 3 of us.
That's
every third
that's
episode,
a good way to do it. That's really good.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
fun.
It breaks up the monotony a little bit. You get to take a break for a little while. I wish I had that.
Yeah, I bet. You got a lot of workload here all by yourself.
Yeah, but you know what?
Preparing for every show.
I love it though, Marcus, because it's like it helps me to, because people don't listen to their shows. I go back and listen to my shows. Everyone's like, "Why are you always listening to your show?" I said, "Because I sound like an idiot in this episode, and I don't want to do that next time."
Right.
Like, do you not understand? It's like I'm trying to be better at this thing. People don't just go, hey, I played that one chord. Guess what? You got to keep playing it if you want it to sound better.
For sure. Yeah, it's a good analogy.
You know that more than anybody.
Way.
You were in a band.
I was. Yep. Yeah, that was some good times. I wish we could still play music together now.
We played a show together.
We did. Yep.
I completely forgot about that. That was a fun show, bro. I had such a good time. Oh my word! Have you played at his house before?
No, that was our first time.
That was incredible. I mean, just that whole space was sick. I mean, to go in there and have everything just be huge, it was like, wow, there's so much room to breathe in here. But then you get to the stage and it's like,
I know, it's a tiny stage, right? Yeah, that was a blast. I had a very good time playing there.
There's something about confidence, a level of confidence when it comes to playing a show, doing a podcast, playing ball. It all relates to confidence. I have a hard time not being confident because I've been playing music and doing the show for such a long time now. It seems like not the show, but like in general.
Right.
Just to sort of always challenge myself to be active in what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to your podcast, I feel that from you guys too. Because you always come on just guns a-blazing. Here's what's going on in basketball. Here's the report sort of thing, which you have to do.
Yeah, for sure.
I always totally about agree. Learning and reading up.
Yeah, no doubt. And to circle back to that other thing you were talking about too, like I also listen back to every episode. Sometimes I'll listen to them multiple times because, I want to get better too. I want to learn from, the things we've said. I want to, take some of the points and the things I feel like we did well and use them again, tweak things that I didn't like. But then to go along with your other point, we definitely try to bring it, like be totally prepared and just be ready for what we're going to talk about, bring, stats, bring things to back up what we're saying. Right. And I feel like that's what, sets us apart from other NBA podcasts, because I feel like there's a lot out there right now. I mean, there's a billion NBA podcasts out there, but so many of them are just these guys that are just all in a room. It sounds like they're huddled around one microphone and they're just like spewing random things. They don't have any coherent, way to say it. And Yeah,
It's like nonsense.
no doubt.
I mean, I watch SportsCenter, and there's always like one guy. It's hat night. You know, he's got a wishbone in his pocket and an umbrella over the side of his shoulder. It's like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't Halloween. We're talking about basketball. It's like,
For sure.
just talk about basketball. That's all we're doing here. See, I get to go off the rails because this is my show. But when I come on your show, I'll be more prepared with facts.
All right. I like that.
You gotta hit me up in advance so I know what we're doing.
For sure. Will do.
But yeah, that's interesting you say that, bro, because it does set you apart from the other shows. You know, there are a lot of people that just come to the microphone and have nothing to say.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, then why are you even doing a podcast if you don't have anything to say?
Right. I totally agree. Yeah, and that's actually something where I'm definitely impressed by the way you do your shows, because they're so fluid. You know, the things you talk about they change from week to week with who's on the show and what's going on.
Gotcha.
And it's just like you're ready to talk about anything at any time. And that's something where it's like, at least we're just in basketball. Like we can focus around that, but you're ready for whatever. So that's impressive to me.
Well, I have a lot of, I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I can never take a compliment. Yeah, that to me is what I love about doing the show, is because it's not always the same thing all the time. I could talk about music all day long. I could talk about stage presence. I could go off the rails on that for hours. But I like delving into something that I don't really know about. Like the last podcast that I had was Founders Brewing Company. I just dropped it a day or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the science of beer is just so astronomically like out of this world. You know, there's so much that goes into it. You know, just like basketball. It's like there's so many factors that go into it. Just like music. There's so many things that go into it. How could you sit there and do a podcast and not try to understand this type of entertainment that you're broadcasting? You know,
right.
I love doing it. You know, I just love doing it.
Yeah, that's so cool. But I mean, don't guys like go to get degrees in brewology or whatever it is, and like it's crazy, Marcus. The stuff they're doing.
I went to go tour. I don't know if you've heard of Rustic Brewing Company. It's kind of a local thing. George is in the band Lost in Transit, and their drummer Todd actually owns the company.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
So I went to go see and buy some beer from him, and just to watch them work, bro, and just the charts that are hung up with all of like the ounces of whatever it is that they need and all the ingredients, I would be way in over my head. Like, it's unbelievable what they do.
Yeah.
It is
for sure it is.
But I mean, the good part about your show too is that you guys have a specific flavor that you are attuned to. It's yours. Like, you know exactly what you're talking about every week. You just come prepared, guns a-blazing, and I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's us. That's what we do. Yeah. But then, like I said, you know, we also try to come in with some fun stuff too. You know, the second half of our shows. Absolutely. You know, for example, when I host, I often do a show or a segment called the No Look Pass. So basically so what I'll do is I'll just grab a quote from some random NBA analyst that could be just some wild off the wall thing. And then I'll just spew it to the guys and they'll have to guess who said that. And then we'll kind of talk about why they might have said that, if they're crazy, you know, what could have been going on in their head.
Bro. You and I both know they got problems.
For real.
So when now are you guys, you have a studio, or are you just doing it over Zoom right now?
Yeah, so we're all doing it over Zoom all together. So right where I am now, that's where I always do the show. So it's working out pretty well. Zoom's a pretty good platform to be able to record multiple different audio streams and use them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping this is kind of just a pipe dream right now because there's so much going into it. You know, we're clearing out my grandmother's house right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I have a porch on this side of me. I don't know if you could see what I'm doing, but it's over here. And
Okay.
I'm hoping to clear that whole thing out, set up a table, set up some cameras, and really go big for this. But, I mean, as for right now,
Yeah.
the Zoom is great because if you have a decent microphone and a decent recording software, you can really delve into that sort of thing. And plus, you're able to put it on YouTube. But, yeah, I would love to do something like that for over here.
That would be
get it
sweet.
Set up. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be wicked cool. I know we're also trying to think of, when do we try to jump into the YouTube game and, work towards streaming our podcast on there too.
Yeah.
And, thinking about that. So it's cool to see you're doing that too. That's pretty sweet.
It's interesting, bro, because it's like I didn't know a lot about how to do this sort of thing. But I felt like my friend Corey always tells me this. If it's something creative and you love doing it, even if it's bad content, you still got to at least try to put something out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like,
that's true.
Especially now when there's really nothing to do. You got to do something like that.
Yeah.
So, I'm enjoying the experience of it. Sometimes it feels like a burden every week, but when I start doing it, I just have fun with it.
Yeah, for sure. And if you love doing it, somebody out there is going to love it too. There's going to be people out there that like to listen, like to enjoy the content that you put out. So as long as you're loving it, then there you go. You're a step ahead.
I commented on this post on Instagram. They have an app or a channel page. Am I dumb?
Something like that.
They have a page. It's called All Things Comedy. And I saw this one guy, he was doing a bit, whatever. And it wasn't funny to me. And so I commented, which is the dumbest thing. I commented, I was just like, why is this funny? And somebody, like, there's a few comments are like, it is funny. And then one of the comments was, it's about as funny as your failure of a podcast.
Oh, man.
I just died. I was like, that is perfect. I like the comment. I was like, this is so great.
Wow. That is a savage comment back.
It was bad. He went for the jugular on that one.
He seriously did. That's crazy.
Hey, it might be a failure. Who knows? But I love doing it. So who cares?
Yeah. That's all that counts, really.
When you were younger and you thought about like how important basketball was to you, is it still just as important to you as it is now as it was then?
Yeah, I would say so in some respects, yes. But in other respects, I would say no. I would say there's growing and becoming a mature adult, you start to realize that, like, okay.
Don't put yourself up there, Marcus.
Try to be a mature adult at least.
Right. We're all trying.
Yeah, exactly. But no, like, I feel like we start to realize that, okay, sports are great and all, but we can't let them affect our emotions after a game. Like, we can't let it consume our lives. So I feel like I've grown in that regard to where, if the Celtics blow a game, which has been very common this year, it's not going to ruin my night. I can deal with it. I can find other things that bring me joy and, just let that be alone for a little bit till I'm ready to pick up basketball again.
Right. And
so
you can't burn out over every game. It's just
for sure.
You would want to shoot yourself. I mean, it's just one of those things where there are going to be off nights almost every night, But there are going to be some really good games. Have you ever actually been to the Garden?
I have. Yeah, that's an atmosphere right there.
That is, bro. Holy cow.
No doubt.
Like I took one of my best buddies to the game. And just to see him light up when everyone is like cheering and going crazy, and Kyrie was on the team at that point.
Okay, yep.
And he had the game winner layup. I think it was like backboard layup or something like that.
Sweet.
It was just like, wow, what an
that's
incredible
fun.
game.
Yeah, one of the games I went to actually, it was when Al Horford was on the team, and he hit a buzzer beater, fall away jump shot to win the game. Wow. And that was an experience, because that's always been a dream. Like, those moments when you get buzzer beater game winners, like they're so few and far between that what are the odds
Right.
you're going to be at one of those games?
Right.
So being at that game was like such an amazing experience. I loved it.
Especially when you're paying the money that you're paying to get in there and get a seat. It's just like, because,
Right.
I mean, I think, where was I reading this? I think the biggest Laker ticket is like $191 for a seat. Like,
Yeah.
before COVID, obviously, but it was just like,
Right.
how can you charge people this amount of money?
I know. It's crazy,
It's
especially
insane.
in those big markets like LA, like Boston. You know, the tickets are so expensive. You know, my wife and I, we went to Chicago a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And just because we were in Chicago, I looked up to see what the tickets would be to a Bulls game. Bulls were trash that year. So sure enough, the tickets, we were like 3 rows from the courtside seats, and it was a fraction of the price of the seats at the top of the Garden.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, although it's a big market, the team was just so bad that you can
Oh, yeah.
you can get cheap seats.
I bet the Knicks feel that same way.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Marcus, they haven't won since 1973. Do you understand that? Do you understand
know.
what that means to not win a championship since 1973? How
That is rough.
does that sound?
I know. It's
It's
got to be tough to
horrible.
be a Knicks fan. But this year, though, they are looking like they might be turning things around.
Are they?
Surprisingly
I
enough.
haven't been watching them.
Yeah, they're definitely in the playoff hunt now. They might even be ahead of the Celtics in the standings at this point.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
Unfortunately. I mean, it's like, trust me, I'm a diehard. I love Celtics, Red Sox. I'll die a fan, but it's like, oh my goodness, can we just maintain a little bit of speed here?
Seriously.
It's
Yeah.
sad. It's just like,
It does feel that way.
it just doesn't compare back to 2008. It really doesn't.
Mhm.
And I mean, you got to think about this too. That entire neighborhood was rocking, because you had the Red Sox the year before they won the championships.
Yep.
I feel like the Bruins won shortly
In
after
2011.
that. Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
so just a couple years after.
And they were on a roll. Patriots were obviously crushing it.
Always do.
It's like, I feel like the fans of Boston, like the players, feed off that so much because it's a huge deal. Sports in Boston is a big deal.
Yeah.
And even when
for
you
sure.
travel there to Boston, even when you get off the subway, Like, I went there once for a Red Sox game. This is an interesting story, bro.
Sure.
It was Pedro's first time back in Fenway as a Met.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah.
I'll never forget this. Me and my dad went to the game. We're on the tee from Alewife. We're just going in, Everybody on that train was like this, like right next to each other.
Yeah.
You
Classic T.
And there was not a single person there that wasn't wearing some type of memorabilia, like a Boston shirt or hat or whatever. It's just like, it's such a huge culture. Fast forward, we get into the game. Tremendous seats. Amazing. Probably, like, we're right on the third baseline, I think. Like, second, third row from the baseline. And everybody's going, Pedro! Pedro! And it's just, the whole thing is erupting in emotion. And it's just like, where am I? That was one of my first big sports games to go to. Like, first real games that I went to. We had such good seats. It was such a crazy experience. But the passion was what I noticed the most, bro.
Yeah. Undoubtedly.
Everybody was just like, because Pedro was never a Met. He was always the Red Sox. It's just like, it became such a phenomenon. You saw these signs, and I think he retired like after that season or something like that. But it was a crazy thing to be a part of.
Yeah, for sure. I bet. Anytime there's like wild fan reactions to things, even if I'm watching at home, I always get goosebumps from it. Like anytime there's something big that happens and the fans go nuts, like I get goosebumps. It's just, it happens every time.
It does, bro. Like when that whole thing flipped around when the Sox won the series in 2004. They to come back from such an incredible, interesting series. I'm losing my wording at this point, but from such a slow start to the series and to beat and come back and win the series, that was an incredible.
You're talking about
time.
the Yankees series?
Yeah, and the the Cardinals. I was just like, and I remember my mother let me stay up and watch every single game.
Cool.
Because she was a fan. It's
right.
just like when you're from that area, you're a diehard. And I still have posters hanging up and stuff like that. It's a crazy thing to be a fan like that. And I don't think there's any fans that are crazier than the ones in Boston.
No, I would totally agree. But they're also some of the most spoiled fans because they've seen so many championships.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think about Brady going to Tampa Bay?
So, I mean, I don't love it. It's the end of his career. So I can kind of understand, he wants to branch out. How can he not build his legacy even more if he wins it somewhere else? Like that I get. Like this past year just proved it to any of the doubters. Like he has to be the GOAT according to anybody. Like it shouldn't even be a discussion at this point.
I don't think so.
So I get that he'd want to branch out. It's tough being a Patriots fan and seeing that, but at the same time, you still love the guy, just like you were saying with Pedro. Like you still love the guy, even if he's on another team. He's worked so hard for New England, for the Patriots for so long. Like you got to have respect and love for that.
I think so. I mean, I think the building the legacy comment that you just made is what it's all about. Because, unfortunately, this business is all about the money.
Yeah.
It's all about the money. Look at Patrick Mahomes' contract.
Oh, goodness, I know.
10 years, $250 million.
Yep.
You and I will never see that amount of money in our lifetime.
Nope.
And he's our age.
I know. Crazy.
So, for Brady at this point, they should have just bit the dust and gave him what he wanted if they wanted him to stay in New England. And at that point in his career, they should have given it to him, bro. It's like, how many times can he stand up here with rings and tell you he's the best, and you don't agree? And you don't give him what he wants after all he's done for this team? Are you out of your mind? Why would you not want to do that? He's just going to continue to get ring after ring and win Super Bowls for you. So what is the problem here? But that's the problem with the industry, bro, is that there's so much greed.
There's so true.
So much greed, NBA, NFL, whatever. These fat contracts that these guys are getting, it's just unbelievable to see. And you don't hold them to the fire when they don't want to do what you ask them to do. That's a sad thing.
It is. It really is. It's getting crazy out there with the level of money that these guys are making. It's becoming otherworldly. Like it really is.
That's why I think about, Kyrie. It's like, bro, not to go on this tangent with you. I know I've kind of circled back to this, but bro, they're giving you this contract and you're not gonna just abide by the rules. It's like, yeah, it sucks. We all know it sucks, but just deal with it. We're gonna get past it. But I mean, you got to know at some point that your celebrity is gonna get the better of you.
Yeah. When you're in their position, undoubtedly, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm hoping that the drama lifts soon, as I've said on this show multiple times. But yeah, when's your next episode dropping, bro?
So we just released an episode just last night. So there's a new one.
I gotta listen to it.
There's a new one. Yep. So then we'll be recording next week on Monday. Release it the following Tuesday. So that's kind of our schedule now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you. I mean, you guys really are doing a great job. It's awesome to
Thanks.
see. It's awesome to see and hear. So is Andrew like liking it? Is he become sort of like really involved in what's going on?
Oh, for sure.
He
Yeah,
loves it.
he was right from the get go. He was, he found the streaming service, I guess you could call it,
Yeah.
Buzzsprout that we use. He found all that stuff out. He does all the editing for the episodes on
Wow.
the volume levels and whatever else he does there.
Cool.
So he does all that. I did the intro music, all the music stuff. That's what I did.
Right.
And then we just, like I said, we rotate the hosts around. So it's kind of a team effort. But Andrew definitely he's loving it. He's all in.
Nice.
He's all about it.
I knew that. I the minute I heard that thing, I was like, man, it had to be Marcus that had to put that whole thing together.
Yeah, that was a blast putting that together.
Talk to me about these downloads that you put up the other day. I was pretty impressed by that. I think I saw it on your Instagram or something like that. That you had 500 downloads or something like that.
Yep. So we got 500
Awesome,
total
bro.
downloads on the show.
Wow.
So within, what has it been, 14 episodes to hit 500? That's more than I expected in that time frame.
Good for you.
I thought it'd be a slow building process, but people keep coming back. We keep getting good numbers each week, so
Good.
it's been a lot of fun, and it's cool to see that people are getting behind it.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Well, I can't wait to tune in to the next episode. I can't wait to be on the show, and
Yeah,
obviously
we can't wait to have you.
I love you, bro. I'm glad you're doing well. It's nice to see you doing good.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate being on the show with you. This has been a blast.
Of course. We'll always enjoy having new people on. Stay tuned, everybody. I got some big plans in the works. I have a new song coming out. It's not exactly written yet. The music is written, but the lyrics are not written yet. But I am part of a big project that's coming up with a few friends. So stay tuned for that. I'll give out more details. The doc is still underway. We're still working on that thing. The guy who's producing and sort of putting the whole thing together is, I think, probably moving to New Hampshire. So we are going to be recording and filming soon. But thank you all again for tuning in. Thank you to Mr. Brunel for coming on the show once again.
Happy to be here. Thanks.
This has been a Why You Laughing podcast. We're clear.